Good evening. It is Tuesday, March 7th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We'll provide our opinions, positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg. I got two of my partners in crime joining me this evening. What's going on with my brother J3? How you feeling?
What's up, Big Reg? What's up, Sense? Feeling good, feeling
What's
good.
up,
Let's
Big?
get it in.
What's
And
good,
we got the
J3?
man who's gonna give us a little extra senses in the building. What's going on, partner? How you feeling?
Feeling good, guys. What's going on? Let's talk some sports. Let's get it.
All right, so this evening we're gonna give you some quick hits, talk a few things, and then we're gonna jump into our two main topics. And of course, NFL is king, so we got to talk about what's going on with the NFL and Lamar Jackson and the tags and the QB signings. And then we're gonna finish it out talking some NBA.
Oh
some
my.
some NBA news. With the NBA news, I mean, it's some crazy stuff going on, and unfortunately, we got to talk
Sad.
about John Moran. Finish the show off with our final post of the evening. But as always, we appreciate you tuning in. So please sit back, relax, enjoy post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Fellas, I don't know about y'all, but I got to bug out a little bit over the weekend with college basketball. Both men's and women's college basketball was excellent over the weekend. Let's start off with the fellas. It's conference tourney week, fellas, for all the Power Five conferences and even a bunch of the smaller conferences. They all start their tourney either tomorrow or Thursday. And by the end of the week, Sunday, we're going to have our 68 game field. So it is crazy. I'm getting excited. But last week, if you wasn't strong-willed, top 10 keeps losing. A lot of the teams in the top 10 had hard road games against their conference rivals at the end of the season, and almost all of them went down except for the top two.
That's good though, because think about it. That's just gonna make you want to be that much hungrier when it comes time for the tournament. You want to face the best at the end of the season just to see how tough your team is.
Oh, absolutely. That's when it really that's when like you really like get your game face on. So I love it.
And the fact that we don't have a sure enough dominant team this year, this may be one of the best tournaments because there is legitimately 10 to 12 teams that can make a run and win this title. And any of them can get knocked off by somebody else if they don't come with their A game each and every game. Got to shout out Houston, give Houston some love. They finished their regular season at 29-2, but they had to fight tooth and nail with Memphis in their final game of the season at Memphis. Memphis they sold out in Memphis. The arena was rocking, and it took a final shot, buzzer beater, to win that game.
That's what you like right there. Down to the last second.
March Madness.
Former number 2, Alabama, kept playing around, giving up big leads in the first half, and then, they would always be able to come back in the second half. Well, unfortunately, it didn't work out last week. Again, they were on the road at Texas A&M, a sold-out stadium, got down almost 20 points early in the first half and had to claw it away, finally got close enough to get back in it, but just couldn't pull away. And Texas A&M ended up beating them by 6 points. So they dropped from number 2. They're still in the top 5 at number 4.
It seems like it's a pattern with Alabama and Texas A&M, whether it's football or basketball. It just seems like Texas A&M got their number.
Yeah. I mean, them rivalries, it's one of the newer rivalries that Alabama has, but Texas A&M coming for their head, like you said, in all the sports.
Exactly.
They coming in gymnastics, golf, they coming after. The hottest men's team in the country, fellas, is now number 2 ranked UCLA. They moved up
Yes,
2
that's my
spots.
sleeper.
UCLA's got a 10-game winning streak right now.
That's awesome. But is it going to take them? Is it going to take that momentum into the playoffs? That's the question.
I think so. They're my sleeper.
Yeah, I don't think you can call them a sleeper. Number 2 ranked team in the country. They're going to be a number 1 seed.
I mean, we've seen them ranked high before, and in recent years. I mean, and it's really hasn't panned out. So that's why I say, even though they're ranked number 2, they're my sleeper. Like to go further than the past has shown. So,
and the fact that they brought back 3 of their main players from last year's NCAA tournament. I think they went to the Elite 8 last year, if my memory is correct. Definitely the Sweet 16. So now they got some seniors on that team that had a taste and thought they were supposed to go to the Final Four last year. So they got a good shot. And like I said, there's a bunch of other teams. You still got number 5 Purdue, who's got the biggest man in the country in Edey, 7'6", 7'7". Nobody has anybody like him. So he's just a difficult matchup, especially if you don't play Purdue. Marquette has been quiet. They won the Big East this year. They just doing their thing. Texas is a fabulous story. University of Texas, again, suspended their coach and ended up firing him in December. Fired him in January. So they got an interim coach right now who's got them in the top 10. They knocked off Kansas this past week to finish it. And it's a black man. You know what happened when Shaka Smart was there. They ran him out of there. So if he keeps doing well, he going to force their hand to keep him. So I'm looking forward to it. But again, it's just going to be some fun basketball.
Let me just say this. A surprising team that's a little out of the top 10, but I wasn't expecting them to be this good this season. UConn. Man, they definitely have They've risen up. I'm like, okay, this is going back to glory days with my man Khalid El-Amin and Rip Hamilton and them boys. The last time they won it. So,
yeah, I hear you. Dan Hurley is doing a good job with that, bringing that program back. So yeah, that's a good thing. On the women's side, 4 of the Power 5 conference tourneys crowned the champion last week. The ACC, shout out to Virginia Tech and the ACC. Virginia Tech won their first ever ACC tourney. And guess what, fellas? Kenny Brooks, an African-American male, became the first African-American to win an ACC women's title.
Isn't that something?
Good job, man. Good job.
He's been doing a heck of a job, so big shout out to him. Then you had the Pac-12. The Pac-12, all the time, Utah and Stanford were supposed to be 1 or 2 seeds. They both lost early in their tourney. They also lost last week, during the week before. So we ended up getting Washington State winning the Pac-12 over UCLA, who's UCLA's kind of I think they ranked like 18th or 20th. So the Pac-12 it's the Pac-12. But shout out to Washington State for getting their job done. The Big Ten. I'm mad at the Maryland Lady Terps women's team. They played the Iowa Hawkeyes tooth and nail, and if they had just rebounded the basketball during their game, they would have probably won that game instead of losing by 2. But I gotta give credit to their All-American phenom, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, I said this a couple of weeks ago, since when you went on when I was talking to J3. She's the Steph Curry of college basketball, not just women's college basketball. She got logo range.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
She's
also
leading the country in assists for the second year in a row, and I think she's like 3rd or 4th in scoring.
Do you think she has enough firepower to maybe put South Carolina on notice, or is it
Yeah, you need a team, bro. One person ain't gonna beat
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Yeah,
I
South
mean,
Carolina.
logo range. Logo range.
What South Carolina can do that most any other team can't do is South Carolina can put a Bree Bill on her who's 6'2.5", almost 6'3", who's a guard.
Mhm.
That's athletic.
Wow.
Or they can bring their freshman off the bench who's 6'4", that's a guard.
Ooh, goodness.
Say
So
no
they-
more.
Yeah. It's interesting. We're in a kind of a changing of the guards in women's basketball, where like the traditional
With
powers, the
UConn.
UConn. Shout out to UConn. They won another Big East tournament, and they also got AC Fudd back, so she's going to be ready for the NCAA tournament. But you have the traditional UConns, the Stanfords, Iowas that are recruiting traditional women's basketball players where you might have one athlete on the team, two at the most, but everybody else is just good players, but they're kind of fundamental players and all that. Then you got this new breed, South Carolina. Dawn Staley is getting length, athleticism. She literally has at least 7 females on the team that are 6'2" or taller.
Man, they just finished another undefeated season too. So kudos.
Just won the SEC tournament, which is a goal of theirs because last year they lost in the SEC tournament and then end up winning the national title. So they undefeated for the year. So they doing their thing. But yeah, just back to Caitlin Clark. She's doing the college basketball what Steph did to the NBA, where she changes the geometry of the game. She didn't kill Maryland herself, but because Maryland had to focus so much on her, she allowed her other players. They hit a Big Ten tournament record, 17 3-pointers against Maryland, and Maryland still only lost by 2. So, yeah, but yeah, South Carolina's the team to beat. If they play 85% or above their level, I don't see anybody that can beat them.
Yeah, I don't either.
What's up, Marcus? Good to see you, bro.
What's good, Marcus?
Yeah. This Saturday on Showtime, there is a interim title fight, but it should be interesting. Tim Tszyu, who's the son of the former middleweight or lightweight champion Costa Tszyu, who's from Australia, is fighting Tony Harrison, who's a former junior middleweight title holder. So they're going to fight this Saturday. It's on Showtime, so if you have Showtime, you can get that match. But let's talk about the UFC before we get on to everything else.
Let's talk. Yes, sir.
Johnny Bones Jones.
Man.
You talking about coming back? 3 years.
Grand opening, grand closing.
I watched their final press conference, which was the fight was on Saturday, so the final press conference was Thursday night. John Jones broke down his competitor, Cyril Gane, so technically it was ridiculous. Like, of all the heavyweight contenders out there, he's probably the weakest one. And he's like, I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but his skill set, he's a kickboxer. And he's really only a striker. So when you get into the grappling and the jiu-jitsu and definitely in wrestling, he's going to have a problem.
Oh, my.
And the guy's literally sitting on the other side of the podium with Dana White, and it was just technical.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I don't think this is going to be too much of a challenge. Not bragging, not boasting. And then he came into the ring and proved it, bro.
I was about to say, he wasn't lying.
In 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
Right.
With a guillotine choke. A guillotine choke.
He got a hold of him, and everybody's like, well, John Jones, he the one coming up from light heavyweight. He going to be the smaller guy. He been telling everybody. He been powerlifting for 5 years. He said it took him 2 years to put the weight on the way he wanted to. In his last year, he's really been refining himself. So he said people thought I was strong as a light heavyweight. He's like, I'm crazy strong now. He got a hold of Cyril, got him to the ground, choked him out. He barely broke a sweat.
First round.
Shit. In the first round.
New heavyweight champion. So he becomes the sixth person ever to hold titles in 2 divisions. And the ease he did that in was just crazy. So, yeah.
But now he holds the most title fight victories at 15. So that in itself is impressive. Yeah.
Now, the hope is that this new success doesn't go the way the past success are. Because he said multiple times that he's learned and he's grown, but he has a tendency, especially if he's drinking.
Get a swell head, huh?
He get out there. So I'm just hoping this time, since he's in his mid-30s now, that Jon Jones takes advantage and has 2 or 3 years where he's just going to try to keep this heavyweight title and then go ahead and retire as the best of all times. Because quite frankly, he's never lost an actual fight in the UFC in the ring. He had a disqualification loss where they said he hit the guy when he was down, which was questionable. And then he had a no decision because they said he had some trace elements of what they was calling a performance enhancer. Now, based on the new testing, that wouldn't even happen. So he's just a monster. He's just got to stay out of trouble, out of the ring.
Yeah, time will tell. So what do you think?
Sometimes.
Yeah. What do you think, though? His, because now he's called out Miocic, and that's the next fight people are looking forward to. Which I think, what's your early predictions on that?
Again, Miocic is a hell of a fighter. He's strong, but what Miocic is a wrestler that has one big punch. Now, if he catch Jon Jones, he can put him to sleep. But Jon Jones is such a tactician, and he's so long that it's hard for people to get into range to hit him with a punch like that. So I like Jon Jones against anybody if his head's in the game. But I think that should be an excellent fight. Definitely going to be better than his last fight. And they're going to do that over fight weekend, which is in July, as long as everybody, stays healthy and everything. So, yeah, that's one of my bucket list items to one day get to Vegas in July to go to International Fight Week for UFC. The co-main event, though, was the surprising finish, fellas. We had the number 2 ranked pound-for-pound woman, Valentina Shevchenko, whose only loss in the UFC was to the number 1 pound-for-pound woman twice, and both of those fights were close.
Mm-hmm.
And she was winning the fight against Alexis Grasso, even though it was a lot closer than people expected. Grasso's an ex-boxer who came into MMA, so people knew she could strike, but she was outstriking Valentina. And then Valentina made a mistake. And that's what I love about UFC. She tried to hit her with a spinning back fist. She caught her in the midst of the spin and caught her back. Got her down to the mat. Choked out. She had to tap.
Say night.
Had to tap.
Hate to see it.
That's the beauty of UFC versus boxing. Even the best of the best, if they make a critical mistake at the wrong time, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah.
Shout out to UFC, another great match, and they're gonna give us another double title match, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So we'll talk about that next Tuesday. All right, fellas, let's talk about this NFL news. We had 3 QBs sign new deals before the start of the tag, which ended today, and free agency, which starts next week. Yeah, Derek Carr signing a 4-year, $150 million deal, but y'all know here at Post, we give you the real.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gonna see $150 million of that deal unless he balls out for 3 years. The real, he got $28.5 million signing bonus up front. So sign his name, get $20.5 million. That's a good day's work. Got $60 million of that $150 million guaranteed as signing. So he's gonna see $60 million, and most likely he's gonna see a minimum of $70 million of that money because of the way it's structured. Even if they try to cut him after 2 years, they still gonna owe him $10 million. And more realistically, he'll probably play for 3 years under that contract and get up to about $100 million, unless he just stinks up the joint.
But let's talk about this. Why did they actually bring him when they still got Jameson and they still got what's the
Dalton?
other quarterback? No, not
Dalton.
I ain't talking. No, not Dalton.
Well, they moved Taysom Hill from
Taysom Hill.
quarterback last year. He didn't even play. He had some trick plays, but they stopped trying to act like he was a possible quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Jameis gets injured, and then he can't keep his job. And then Andy Dalton, we know Andy Dalton stays over. So they're trying to look for a solution because the NFC South literally doesn't have anybody as an established quarterback now.
Right.
So they're trying to win that division.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they need.
Yeah, but that's the first thing. That's the first thing that came to my mind too, J3. Like, dang, Jameis is jobless, and pretty much now, it's a new sheriff in town, Derek Carr. I think it's prime opportunity for him now to, get that job and for New Orleans to rise up. Because Atlanta's not going anywhere. They're going to draft a QB, but it's not going to pan out to anything immediately. And then you got Tampa Bay, who's now without Tom. So who they got? So yeah, this is like the perfect scenario for New Orleans right now.
But let me ask y'all this: I thought he was a perfect fit for the Raiders. What happened?
They changed their coach. He was a perfect fit for the Raiders until they brought Josh McDaniels in. Another New England product who had failed once before at Denver. So he wants to bring in his own people to run his system. And him and Carr didn't get along after Carr did all that for years. Carr had 6 head coaches in his 9-year career and had 7 offensive coaches. How is he going to be successful under those circumstances?
Well, he might be making prime play for Mr. Rodgers.
Yeah, we'll talk about Mr. Rodgers in a second because I got an opinion on what they're trying to do now. I'm happy for Geno Smith. Geno Smith, don't believe what you hear and read. Geno Smith's contract is not a 3-year, $105 million deal. It's a 3-year, $75 million deal. That's the real contract.
Wow.
He got $30 million signing bonus, so Geno got $30 million up front, which is almost double what he's made in his entire NFL career.
Making.
So that's big money.
It's still a win for him. Mm-hmm.
$40 million guaranteed at signing, and most likely he's going to make $52 million in the first year and a half of that deal. So he's going to make some nice money. But
I think he deserves it.
I
But
was about to say, this was like the best. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sis.
No, I said this was like one of the best redemption stories of the season. Where, to come up from squalor and, to ball out the way you did, prove naysayers wrong. Like, man, yeah, you deserve every penny of the money he's getting.
He made Seattle look like a contender. And after Russ left, everybody thought they were going to be a scrub team.
Yeah.
Now it's Russ who?
Exactly. So that extra money that they've been talking about at that $105 million, $40 million of that are bonuses that he can or cannot make. So that's not real money. And then this year, today, Daniel Jones gets a 4-year, $160 million
I was about to say,
deal.
how does Daniel get this before Saquon? Like
$82 million guaranteed. $82 million guaranteed to sign.
And what has he done in the last 3 years?
This is a quarterback that had 16 passing TDs last season. Yeah, he did have, I think, 7 or 8 rushing TDs, but 16 passing TDs, and they just gave this man $40 million per
That's
year.
why them little people ain't going nowhere, but because of decisions like that. You go on basically, yeah, I know a long-term deal is kind of in the works for Saquon, but like if I'm Saquon, I'm feeling like some kind of way. Like you about to pay this man all this money, and I was the one responsible for these wins. I carried that team on my back, and you tag me?
Yeah, but that's the same situation that happened with Tennessee and the Titans with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, exactly. The exact same thing. Yep. Tannehill ain't deserve that money.
Tannehill got the big money because it's the position.
Mm-hmm.
So,
speaking of which, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna stay or is he leaving?
Well, Tennessee says he's staying. So they say he's staying. I heard a rumor that they're thinking about possibly trading Derrick Henry.
Right, that's what I heard.
Which is crazy.
To get something back from it, yeah. Oh well.
What you got going on now? You got all the NFL teams have to get under the salary cap before free agency starts, and that starts, I think, next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have a bunch of players get traded, get released over this next week, so that you have to be under the salary cap by the beginning of that period, and then you can go ahead and do some things after that. So a bunch of players going to be asked to restructure their deal. If they don't do that, they're going to get released. So it's just look for it. Some names you didn't think of. Yeah. Zeke probably going to be one of them. Yeah.
So
sure.
I heard a rumor on First Take earlier today about possibility of DeAndre Hopkins like becoming a free agent and joining the Cowboys. What y'all think about that?
Cowboys don't have money to pay him. They don't have the salary cap room to pay him unless they do some major moves. That's the issue. Because DeAndre Hopkins ain't gonna redo his contract. DeAndre Hopkins make over $20 million a year.
Not only that, that doesn't mean Dak gonna. I mean, yeah, it don't mean Dak gonna give him the ball either.
Yeah. So let's talk about these franchise tags. 4:00 today was the deadline for people to put franchise tags on players. One thing happened that I was kind of surprised. No team used the exclusive tag. So everybody that got tagged is non-exclusive, which basically means that the player can negotiate with any team he wants to. And if they come up to a deal, they can sign an offer sheet. And then their current team has the option of either matching that offer sheet, contract for contract, or they get 2 first-round picks. So for a lot of players like running backs, defensive tackles, tight ends, most teams aren't willing to give up 2 first-round picks for that. But the one that threw the flag, so let's talk about the ones before we get to the big one. We already told you that the Commanders tagged Deron Payne. He was the first one to get tagged, so he's going to make just under $19 million next year, unless he gets a long-term deal agreed. Second was Jacksonville Jaguars. They tagged tight end Evan Ingram. The tight end tag is a little over $11.3 million a year. 3 running backs got tagged after that. The Raiders tagged Josh Jacobs, who led the NFL in rushing last year. Dallas tagged Tony Pollard. And then the Giants, once they got the deal done with Daniel Jones, they tagged Saquon, which is crazy because the contract they were offering Saquon is more than the tag. So that's why I think they're going to get a long-term deal done with Saquon because they'd already offered him more money.
Which is worth it. He's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
As long as he stay healthy.
Yeah. And that Dallas thing, because Dallas put the tag on Pollard, that means Zeke, you're going to either restructure your deal and stay in Dallas where you love, or you're going to have to get cut.
Do you think anybody else will pick him up?
Somebody always thinks they can do better. So
Zeke is not, in my opinion, if he don't have an effective offensive line, he ain't going to be that effective.
Yeah. Zeke has taken a lot of hits. That's Zeke's issue. Zeke's body is breaking down. And that's why a lot of teams don't want to give running back second contracts where you can draft a young guy, use them up for 4 or 5 years, and just do it over again.
That's why running back is the most underappreciated position because it's like they the workhorses, and they the ones that get banged up the earliest, the soonest.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Baltimore Ravens basically told Lamar Jackson, look here, obviously we can't come to an agreement. They're trying to frame it as we're trying to let the market set your price. And then once you get the price, then we're going to match it. That's kind of how they're trying to spin it. If I'm Lamar Jackson and Daniel Jones just got $40 million, David Carr got 30-something million dollars, and you're going to give me a non-exclusive franchise tag for $32 million? Oh, hell no. If I'm Lamar, I'm going to find me another team, and I'm going to try to have them structure a contract where it's be so much of a penalty for the Ravens to match it that they're going to have to cut a bunch of players to do it. I'd be a little spiteful. That's just me. I'm sorry. That's when you disrespect me, that's how I roll.
Roman saying he coming down 495. That's what I heard. That's what the Roman mail's saying. He trying to get in that burgundy and gold.
Daddy trying to get in that teal and orange.
I don't even think they're going to do it because I think they're sensitive about the Tua thing and how that looks. But you know who should do it? The team that just flew out to Green Bay, or actually to California, to talk to Aaron Rodgers. The New York Jets, instead of trying to trade for Aaron Rodgers, pay him $60 million or whatever the restructure is going to be. He's going to get all his money. He's going to leave no money. And you're going to have to give them assets to do that. And you're going to have to release players to get him under the cap. Why don't you just say, hey, turn this plane around. Lamar just got non-franchised.
Let's go pick him up.
And go sign Lamar Jackson, who can grow with your young team. Give Lamar contract's easy. I can write the contract for him. 5 years, $50 million. Guarantee Lamar $200 to $215 million. He's not going to get Deshaun Watson money, but he's going to get the highest guaranteed other than Deshaun Watson.
But that's just it, though. He's proven himself. So why should he get slighted? Any amount of money.
And is he going to a better situation?
He's going to a better situation in the Jets for sure than Cleveland. I think he's actually would be going to a better situation than Baltimore. Because let's be real, Baltimore is living off of the past glory of the 2 Super Bowls.
Amen.
Ever since Ozzie Newsome walked out of the GM spot, their drafts haven't been successful. They done drafted a whole bunch of wide receivers that haven't worked out. They just had to fire their offensive coordinator. You got other players now. If you're a player at the Ravens and you got a contract coming up in the next year or two, do you think they're gonna pay you if they ain't pay Lamar?
I don't have confidence in that organization at this point.
If they are, it's gonna be not what you expect.
Right. The only glaring question with me with Lamar, Lamar and the Jets scenario is, does the Jets have like a line that can protect them? Because as you can see with what happened with, I'm not comparing Lamar Jackson to Zach Wilson or Mike White by any means, but is he coming into a situation that's going to be beneficial for him to get his, be that Lamar Jackson of old? I don't know.
I think their line is improving. They need to work on the line, but guess what? It only cost them 2 number 1 picks, one in each year, to get Lamar. So they give him this year's number 1. Next year's number 1 going to be in the 20s because they're going to be winning a bunch of games, and they use their 2nd and 3rd and 4th round picks on offensive linemen. They got everything else. Their defense is stacked and young. Yeah. They got the offensive rookie of the year, wide receiver. They had a potential offensive rookie of the year and running back Breece Hall before he got injured. He's supposed to be ready for the beginning of the season. So you got offensive weapons. You should remain in draft picks to continue to build up the line, and you stick Lamar Jackson there. If they would have had a quarterback that could have averaged 17 points a game, the Jets would have won 11 games last year.
Yeah, because they were scaring a lot of teams.
You saying Lamar can't give you 17?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if that's the spot, could Danny Boy do something to try to make a big splash before he gets out of here and say, "Go get the ball"? I can see that.
It's possible because I could actually see him. Yeah, I was gonna say I could actually see him playing for a coordinator like the enemy, like that can spark up that offense.
Yeah, I just think that he's checked out, and that he's not going to have to be willing to spend the money that he's going to have to spend when it's good chance he's going to be selling the team soon. So, all right, let's move on to the NBA, fellas. And there's no way around it, so we got to hit it right in the head.
Let's go.
Ja Morant, after losing the game to Denver, goes out to a strip club in the suburbs and makes a decision at 5-something in the morning that he gonna go on IG Live. And not only is he in the strip club shirtless, which is a whole different situation. So you know what's going on there. So he's still in COVID, but we're gonna leave that alone. But has what appears to be a gun in the video, which is very, very problematic on two fronts. A, why would you think it was a good idea to go on IG Live flashing a gun?
And post a gun.
When you got a $200 and something million contract that kicks in next year, you an NBA superstar, just signed a new deal with Nike for your own signature shoe, just became the face of Powerade, and you think that's a smart idea?
2 words: crying for attention.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
It's
There's no way.
Go ahead.
He keeps acting like he's from the hood and he ain't. Why? Why you gotta act like this and you have so much to gain and your reputation is everything and you do dumb stuff like this? I mean, really?
It's goofy. I got 2 more words. I'm sorry, go ahead. I was like clout chasing. That's basically what he's doing. Going like, and to your point, being somebody that he's not, and you would think he'd have better people in his circle, I'm going to, put this out here. His father, of all people, like being, a more responsible type, sometimes you got to draw that line between father and friend and be more of a father as far as, advising him on the right ways to move about. And I mean, clearly that's not the case.
And stories are coming out that his fellow teammates have talked about him, that Ja really doesn't hang with his teammates off the court. He's got his crew that he hangs out with. And this isn't the first incident they had. Remember, just a month ago, they was talking that one of his crew was pointing a laser into the visiting team's bus as they was leaving the arena, and they didn't know if it was a laser from a gun or, one of them little lasers that you hold, pin lasers. Mm-hmm. This past summer, Ja had an incident at a mall in Memphis. Then he had an incident at his house where he supposedly punched a teenager and then walked out his house with a gun in his waist. Now, the mall thing and the teenage thing, they was able to brush, under the rugs and all that. But now you got the gun on video. It's not illegal to have a gun in Colorado, but it is illegal to have a gun while drinking. So if they can prove he was drinking, he could be facing criminal charges.
It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
just,
that
just
ain't
truly
good.
ridiculous. You got the opportunity of a lifetime, something that you worked for hard for from day one. You asked your dad to train you. He trained you to get you where you're at, and this is how you repay him.
And then we got the
Ridiculous.
NBA issue, fellas, because we here in the DMV remember the Gilbert Arenas situation,
Mm-hmm.
where Gilbert Arenas got suspended for 50 games for bringing a gun
Right.
into the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what's against the rules? Bringing a gun into a locker room, bringing a gun on a road trip.
I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Yeah, this is just evident of what fame, definitely fame and fortune can do to some. It gives you a swell head and thinks that you can move around however you want and be invincible, but that sobering reality always comes crashing back down on them, where it's like, okay, you still got a higher power to answer to, which is the NBA and the owners who sign your checks. So you can kind of have this reckless mentality if you want, but that can get snatched away from you just like that.
But let me ask you this, Sense. Is it fame or is it just damn stupidity? Because it sounds like it's stupidity to me.
Well, fame breeds sometimes stupidity, makes you more, what they say, fame doesn't change you, it makes you more of what you already are. I'm not going to put that on them, but it brings out qualities that you might have displayed, but it's now more amplified.
Yeah. And sometimes people be putting on. I'm not saying that's John, I don't know John, but sometimes people be trying to act harder than what they really are, trying to be something they're not that they are, and start hanging around people who say, yeah, it's cool. And Kendrick Perkins put it this: you keeping it real for who? Who you keeping it real for?
Mm-hmm.
Keep it real for your family, your children, your daughter's children, that right now you're in a situation to set them up financially, that with the amount of money that he can generate over his NBA career, which will be well in excess of $500 million, nobody in this family line should have to work anytime soon.
That's generation changing money.
Yeah. He's throwing it right out the window. Just throwing it right out the window.
Yeah.
Or for a rep.
Yeah. Yeah. For a rep to who? To who you trying to be cool to?
Right.
They can't deal with anything you got. You got $200 million coming to you legally. Ain't nobody you dealing with got anywhere close to $200 million. And if they do,
and guess what?
You better get away from them, because that's a problem too.
Well, I say, and guess what? When that money goes, guess who's gonna go with it? All your boys that was around you, and you're gonna be all by yourself.
Yeah.
Sad, alone, and broke.
It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's move on. This was some big injury news before we get into how the teams are working out. Celtics center Robert Williams, hammy. Big man and hamstring don't go together well.
He keeps having issues every time that the season getting ready to end. He gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that lost like almost 70 pounds. I think his body just doing that transformation, I just think his body just doesn't hold up. It's sad. But the Celtics going to need him if they're going to try to make a push to win the championship.
Yeah.
Speaking about
Celtics been on scared. Sorry.
About the Grizzlies, not only are they probably going to lose Ja Morant for a considerable amount of time, and this 2-game absence is going to be longer than that, because I don't think the NBA is going to let them come back till they finish their investigation. That's just my opinion. But they also lost their forward/center Brandon Clark, who tore his Achilles. He's out for the season and probably might be out for next year. So they hurt.
And they were doing so well too in the beginning of the season.
Yep.
A
story that has been getting a lot of pub with the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins has been gone for over 2 weeks. supposedly dealing with a family issue, and they don't know when he coming back. They're gonna need Wiggins back before playoff time in order to get him reacclimated into things. And if he got something going on heavy in the family, you got to have your mind right. So that could be a problem for the Warriors.
And we all know that he was definitely the key for them winning the playoffs last year.
Without question. It's surprising that they're staying afloat in the fifth seed right now, even with Steph being injured, but now with them coming back, the loss, would be great, but Poole's been stepping up as of late, so I don't give them much worry right now.
Yeah, like I said, he just got to get back before the end of the year. I think actually Steph missing time and Wiggins missing time was actually kind of a blessing in disguise because it forced him to play DiVincenzo more, Poole more, actually get Kuminga involved, even though he was struggling and still struggles. So it gives him a chance. So now they've got their reserves ready to play.
And don't forget, Klay Thompson is back.
Oh, yeah, Klay Thompson looking like the old.
He's been balling.
He looks like the old Klay on offense. You can still see that he's lost a step on defense because Klay Thompson used to be not a lockdown defender, but a good defender. People go around him like it's nothing. So, but he drilling that. He killing them on offense.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. The Professor's team, quiet, steady. Now they got the best record in the NBA.
The Bucks.
Quiet storm. Yeah, man. I call them the quiet storm all the time.
Yeah. They had won 15 straight, then they lost one, then got one right back. So they right there, 46-18. They're 2 games ahead of the struggling Celtics. Half a game ahead of the Nuggets for the best record in the league. Yeah. If Giannis is healthy, Jay Crowder, they slowly involving him in it. They got the big boy center who's healthy this year.
Lopez.
And they're getting Giannis's running mate, who's actually still coming off the bench most of the time. So yeah, they're gonna be really scary. And then they started playing Joe Ingles. Oh my God! Yeah.
I mean, think about it. What did the Bucks do? They took a blueprint out of the Warriors playbook. They said if we can fill all 5 positions with players that can step in at any given time and be able to run 10, 11, 12 deep, we can dominate. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Plug and play. Yep. That's basically all it is. And I was going to credit to that organization because they made the right sneaky good moves with Crowder, with Ingles, and they're working like a well-oiled machine. Not like they doing their job. They ain't all rah-rah and this and that. Oh, Kevin Durant this and that. No, they said, okay, we just gonna grab some players in there. We still got Giannis, and we gonna keep on winning. And
don't sleep on Holiday. Don't sleep on Drew Holiday.
Oh yeah, Drew Holiday showing people who he is. Oh, Giannis not playing tonight? Okay, I'll drop 30 on you.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, Giannis playing? Then I only need to drop 15 and give you 8 assists and play some defense. So yeah. Everybody knows their role. They're comfortable in their role, and they're willing to play as a team. Speaking of roles and struggling right now, the Celtics again missing their center. They're starting to have some issues now. Celtics lost 3 games in a row where they had double-digit leads in the second half and gave up the leads.
Defense. Call it out.
Yeah.
They ain't playing defense.
Coaching, too. I think their young coach is being exposed. People are starting to watch film and figure out what the Celtics have doing to them late in games, and they haven't been able to make adjustments once the other team has adjusted to them.
Well, you can't play the same 5 all game and expect them to be top notch at the end of the game if they get tired. You got to have rotation.
I think the only other team that legitimately has a shot in the East are the 76ers. I got to give Harden some props. Harden dropped 20 assists the other night. Joel Embiid is going back and forth with Luka for top scorer in the NBA. So But I'm not sure if I can trust Doc come postseason, and can Embiid stay healthy?
That's why when you said the 76ers, I kind of just like, we say this every year. Oh, this is going to be the Sixers year. Sixers going to come out the East. What happens?
Yeah. And gotta give some love to the hottest team in the East right now, the New York Knicks. They're not going to get in the top spot, but they on a 10-game win. They won 8 straight games.
Yeah.
They balling. They have a shot to get as high as, I think, 4th. I don't think they'll be able to catch the Sixers at 3rd, but they could overtake the Cavaliers if they keep this hot playing. So
that acquisition of bringing Brunson to the big city made a big difference, and it allowed Randall to start getting his shots more because he ain't got to worry about dribbling the ball up the court, and it's working for him.
Yeah, Brunson has brought leadership. Go ahead, Sense.
Now I said they finally got a point guard, and like they were never really like lacking on defense. You got a defensive guru in Thibodeau. So like, you know, yeah, they're starting to come on at the right time, and I gotta give them props. I feel like basketball is better when the Knicks are relevant and doing well. So it's good to see them. Good to see them hitting their stride.
Yeah, and again, Brunson, I think not only is the points and all, I think he brings the leadership and the tenacity to the team from a player's perspective. So it's not just coming from Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
true.
On the West, and people can keep sleeping on them, not giving them credit. The Denver Nuggets are that team.
Mm-hmm.
And Jokic is that dude.
The question is, are they going to be able to bring it in the playoffs? That's the question. Because you can dominate. My question. You can dominate the regular season all day long, but when it comes time to playing a team 7 games straight or 7 games, are you going to be able to take it home?
Jamal Murray.
So you absolutely
Michael Porter Jr. are back and healthy. Something they haven't had the last 2 years.
Agreed.
And have y'all seen old man dunking on people? Mr. Green, ex-Hoya, Jeff Green, 30-something years old, dunking on people. They got a squad in Denver.
We told this story before, though. Like they had Murray when, like in the bubble, when the Nuggets got knocked out the Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah. I just want to see them do it in the postseason. It's great. They always got a squad in the regular season. They're always at the top of the Western Conference in the regular season. But come playoff time, it's always an issue. And granted, Murray and Michael Porter Jr. haven't been at their healthiest. But again, when, you know, Jamal Murray was dropping dimes, albeit in the bubble, but he was still dropping dimes, dropping buckets. Where did the Nuggets end up? So I just want to see them do more in the postseason. That's all.
I hear you. Another team we got to start giving some respect, and I think they actually going to end up in the 2nd spot because of what's going on in Memphis. Sacramento Kings. Mm-hmm. They only half a game behind Memphis for 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them rising up. Mike Brown, Coach of the Year, man. Coach of the Year, Mike Brown.
Easy.
They do. They haven't had a winning season since White Chocolate.
Right.
White Chocolate and C-Dub. Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They are playing great team basketball. They brought that Golden State philosophy to Sacramento. The word on the street is Sacramento is the loudest arena in the NBA, just like Oracle used to be for Golden State. That collegiate type of atmosphere in the arena. They balling.
They
bunch
are.
of young players. Yeah. The Suns are cool. KD's good. Booker's balling. But they don't play any defense.
And they gotta be healthy.
It's about fit. It's about fit. And love. Yeah, and they gotta be healthy. And I love what Lucas said because he exposed D Book, and that's why I don't like D Book. Yeah, you may go like, yeah, yeah, okay, you start talking to us. It would have been great if you was doing that before you realized you was 3 seconds left in the game or something like that. Now you want to be all talking stuff like Suns front runners, man. We'll see what happens with them. They front runners.
And how long is DeAndre Ayton gonna be to play nice and not stop pouting because he's not getting touches? Now that KD getting 18 to 20 touches, Booker's actually shooting more than he was before KD got there because he's getting wide open shots because KD taking people away from him. So they need Ayton to be the defensive force because Booker ain't a great defensive player. KD plays defense. I give KD his credit. He plays defense. But CP3 can't play any defense anymore.
You lost all your defense with Bridges and Johnson. That was your defense.
So my question is KD and Booker and Chris Paul talking to Ayton, or are they alienating them? Because at some point, somebody got to be the captain of that team and say, look, this is how we're going to run this offense so that we can be productive, so that we can win championships. We can't win championships when we're divided. It just doesn't work.
I agree. Somebody's got to do it, but you can't expect him to just be a defensive player when he was already crying about not getting touches last year and wanted to leave the Suns, but they matched the deal. They did to him what the Ravens are doing to Lamar. It's like, you go ahead and get a deal. If the deal ain't outrageous, we'll match it. So
I think
there's no love lost there. So that can just, I'm just saying, that could blow up.
That burned the bridge when they did that. There's no coming back.
And if he decide that, oh, y'all not gonna give me the ball, I'm not gonna play any defense anymore, y'all just gonna have to outscore everybody, that whole chemistry and all that could blow that whole thing up. So to be determined. But the West stays packed, sits. Got to give love to your Lakers. Technically, they've got the same record as the 9th and 10th place team, but because of the tiebreakers, they're currently 11th. So if they can hold on, and if your boy can stay healthy, he been balling. Even though he did sit out a game when they said he was healthy, but it was a back-to-back, so I'm gonna leave him alone. But if he can stay healthy, I think they can make the play-in tournament. What they can do after that, I'm not too sure. But what you think about the Lakers?
I think they're doing better than the Clippers right now. I know that. But I mean, I agree. Like, all we need to do is get into the play-in or playoff. Keep playing the way we playing. I don't know what the record is since LeBron has gone out, but it's more wins than losses. I know that. And just keep that momentum going. D'Angelo Russell's supposed to act for tonight's game. So that's the plus. You're playing Memphis without Morant, without Clark. It's just going to have to take everybody stepping up. I think, we definitely have a good chance. We'll definitely break that top because New Orleans is playing. I forget who they playing, but it's a guaranteed possible loss. I think they're playing Dallas. If I'm not, no, Utah's playing Dallas. I know New Orleans is playing some top 4 team in the Western Conference. So we can easily be up at that 9th spot, or even 8th by tonight.
Okay. Hey, BJ, I definitely think Kerr misses Brown because of what happened over the summer before the season started. Draymond can't be the guy to get on the young guys. So Mike Brown could have been that bridge to help the young guys, and they possibly wouldn't have had to trade their future center because he wasn't developing. So, yeah, Mike Brown helped that defense a lot and didn't get credit. Now we're seeing you get him with a young team, he can do well. I think Mike Brown does well with young teams or a team that just has one star and a bunch of players that need to be molded. That's why he didn't work in L.A. because everybody's trying to be stars in L.A., but he worked in Cleveland, and now he's working in Sacramento.
Plus, he's defensive minded, so that's making a difference too.
All right, fellas, that's another show down. But before we get out of here, we got to give our final post. J3, what you got for us?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say, Mama, happy birthday. I love you. Many more to come.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Mama Somerville. Love you. What you got for us, Sense?
Must be something about them Pisces, because the love of my life, Mrs. Brooks, is celebrating her birthday this Sunday coming up. So happy birthday to my wife, Crystal. And
Crystal.
Also give a big, huge shout out to the Archbishop Carroll High School girls varsity basketball team for winning the city title. You ain't think I was going to mention that, Big Rich?
Nice. Nice. Congratulations.
I got to give you props on that. Happy birthday, Crystal.
Yeah.
Shout out. Actually, your Lady Lions have a pretty good program, so I got to give them shout outs. Them, St. John's have been doing battle back and forth, so yeah, shout out to the Lady Lions.
Thank you.
I just like to tell people it's NCAA basketball time. Enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy. You got men's tourney week this weekend. Next week, you roll into men's and women's NCAA tourney week. So just enjoy the basketball. It's a great time to enjoy sports. We get in the last 15 17 games of the NBA season. It's basketball time. Enjoy it. And we will see you when we see you. All right. Hey, Mom. Thanks for the happy birthday wishes out there. Miss your son. All right, fellas. Again, another show, another day. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in, listening. We appreciate your time and the opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Please tune in each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for our live show. If you can't make the live show, you can also download this show and our previous shows via our Facebook or YouTube channel. Just put in Positions on Sports Talk Show. You can listen to the previous shows. Do us a favor. If you go to any of our social media platforms, please do us a favor. Like and subscribe. Subscription is free. We greatly appreciate it and help us dearly. And if you want to hit us up, you can hit us up on Facebook at Positions on Sports, Twitter at Positions on SBO1, and we'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there and enjoy the basketball. We'll see you next week.
See ya.